This is my Omega Speedmaster Professional Mark II. I'm sending it back to the Omega factory in Switzerland for a complete service. But before we do, let's take a closer look. Let's put it on the timegrapher. Let's open it up, put it on the microscope, so we have something to compare it to for when we get it back from service. My name is Mike, and this is my watch story. This watch was left to me by a dear uncle in the early 1980s. Although he was never a man of great means, he always had a deep appreciation for state-of-the-art technology. I remember playing with his 1958 Omega Seamaster when I was a kid. I loved the feeling of that rotating ratcheted bezel. Somewhere in the 1970s, he purchased this Speedmaster and consequently gave me a Seamaster when I turned 16, which I have to this day. I have my goals set on servicing that watch myself here on the channel. This watch is in fair shape, but it's been getting increasingly hard to wind and set, with the winding stem showing lots of resistance. The watch is obviously long overdue for a service. In fact, I haven't had the watch serviced for as long as I've had it, and I've worn it plenty. So I'm sending it to the Omega Service Center in Switzerland for a complete service. This video will serve as the before footage so we can compare when we get it back. The Speedmaster Professional Mark II came out just after what's known as the Moonwatch Speedmaster and is powered by Omega's Caliber 861. This one has the multicolor racing dial. The stainless steel case and bracelet and the crystal show all the signs of the fun I had wearing the watch. I remember clubbing in the late 1980s, and this watch would just light up on the dance floor when the black lights came on. So let's take a look at what a 50-year-old Omega Speedmaster that's never been serviced looks like up close. I must confess that in the 1980s and 90s, I purchased a slew of quartz watches, which I've featured in my prior videos. My two mechanical Omegas were put into storage and haven't been worn much until just recently, when I started my interest in watchmaking. With over 150 parts in the movement alone, a proper service is beyond my current skill set. I have no shame in admitting that. The Speedmaster is a beautiful example of engineering, and I want mine to be serviced by the best. The Omega website refers to watch service and restoration as an intervention, and lists the basic prices. Their complete service includes disassembly of the case, cleaning of the movement, replacing of worn parts, reassembly and lubrication, adjustment for accurate timekeeping, cleaning and refurbishing of the case and bracelet, and reassembly, including renewal of water resistance. Each watch serviced comes with a 2-year warranty on the work they perform. This watch, being a chronograph made from non-precious materials, i.e. stainless steel, has a base service cost of $900 US. As of this recording, I have no idea what Omega will tell me is needed, but at minimum, I know I want the movement serviced and the crystal replaced. I'd also like to have the case polished. To get a baseline for how well the watch is keeping time, I'll do a few measurements on the timegrapher. The timegrapher listens to the beats of the watch and displays a chart that tells us how fast or slow the watch is running and how strong it's ticking. In this flat position, the rate says the watch is gaining 27 seconds per day. AMP is for amplitude, and anything over 250 can be considered healthy. The watch holder contains a microphone and pivots so you can get a reading in different positions, which simulate the watch being worn in a variety of activities throughout the day. In this upright position, the watch is gaining fewer seconds per day, but the amplitude is lower. BE is for beat error, and 0.8 millisecond is a sure sign that the watch needs service and adjustment. Let's move over to the microscope so we can make some cosmetic observations. I love my electronic microscope, but whoa, I'm not so sure I like what I'm seeing. Right off the bat, the dial is showing some discoloration or staining. Is it oxidation or damage from water getting in? I'm wondering if there's more going on than meets the eye. Do you see the letter T on either side of the words Swiss made? The T stands for tritium, which is an older luminescent paint that was used on watches of this period. While it is slightly radioactive, it's nowhere near as radioactive as radium. Tritium lume was eventually replaced by non-radioactive paints, of which there are various brand names. You can see that there are obvious chips and scratches on the mineral glass crystal. The hands, to the naked eye, look okay, but under the microscope you can see the degraded lume in the center. Here's a look under ultraviolet light. The luminescence on the hands is completely gone. I never realized it was this bad, but there is considerable discoloration on the numbered tachymeter bezel. The number 90 is really darkened to the point where you can barely read it. I wonder if it can be cleaned or replaced. Is this caused by oxidation or moisture? If so, I hope the movement is okay. There also appears to be some kind of deposits under the crystal. Here's a better look at the case, which is obviously scratched and dinged. On the back, you can still see the seahorse logo. The crown and pushers appear worn, but serviceable. Another look at the case shows more dents and gouges. Hey, I was really active in my youth. Between the microscope and what I now know about how this watch looked when new, I realized you can't tell the difference between the polished and brushed surfaces anymore. So I'm hoping Omega Service can help me out there. The watch still has its original bracelet, I believe. To me, it still seems solid. I look forward to hearing what Omega has to say about it. Let's take a look inside the watch. I sure hope we don't need the crazy glue trick to get the back off. To learn more about that, check out this video on how to open a stuck watch back. A leather work glove gave me enough grip and leverage to break this back free. Oh, and there it is. To my delight, the Omega Caliber 861 movement was gorgeous. But the rubber gasket had fossilized. That's probably why the back was stuck and how weather may have gotten in. We'll take a closer look under the microscope. Here's a fun trivium. See the line DDE BR period plus 2750/67? DDE BR stands for Demande de brevet. Brevet in French means patent, and demande, like demand in English, means requested. So demande de brevet means patent applied for, followed by, and I'm guessing here, the patent application number, and in this case, no pun intended, the year 1967. Back at the microscope, I really want to see a close-up look at the chronograph mechanism in action. Chronograph start. Stop. And reset. So crisp. As crisp and delicious as that was, there's clear signs that the old lubrication in the movement has dried up. It also seems odd to me that there's what looks like oil residue in the slots and behind both case mounting screws. Here's a close-up of the dehydrated caseback gasket. I don't know whether it's grime or pitting on this pusher tube, but I find the green hue rather disturbing. The good news is that the wheels look healthy, the balance assembly, pivots, and jewels all look clean, and the pallet fork and escape wheel are chugging away happily. As I close up the watch, I have to admit that it's in worse shape than I thought, but now that I've had such a close-up view, I feel like I'm better educated on what to look for, not just in deciding if my own watches need servicing, but also what to critically look for if I were buying a used watch online.
Tomorrow, I'll be delivering the watch to the Omega boutique in Northeast Philadelphia, who will then ship it to Omega in Switzerland for my servicing, or as they say, intervention. Please stay tuned for a quick video on what that Omega intake experience was like, and of course, please make sure you come back for the big reveal.
Thanks for joining me before we send this watch back to Omega for a full service. If you liked the video, please consider subscribing to the channel and give the video a big thumbs up. I certainly hope you'll join me again for my follow-up video after we get the watch back from service. My name is Mike, the channel is Watch with Mike. Be good, be well, and be safe, and I look forward to our next time together.